Good evening, Instagram. Welcome to my live session. My name is Adeola Adeyemi. I'm a mental fitness coach and the founder of Talk Mental Health. Welcome to my live. Tell me your name and where you're joining from. Oh, thank you very much for joining my live session. Just tell me your name and where you're joining from. I also need to know if you can hear me loud and clear. I'm not sure if my lighting is good. I just have to adjust it a little bit. I hope it's good. But please tell me your name and where you're joining from. Oh, sorry about the sound. Just trying to adjust my lighting. Okay. Ooh. Tell me your name and where you're joining from. Today we're going to be talking about rejection proof. Can you hear me? How to become rejection proof. That's what we'll be talking about today. How to become rejection proof. Just tell me your name and where you're joining from. Tell me if you can hear me loud and clear. Please confirm how to become rejection. How to become rejection proof. Thank you. But I need to connect with you guys. I need to know your name and where you're joining from. So please tell me your name and where you're joining from, okay? Rejection proof. Yeah. All right. If you've never been rejected before, maybe you should just leave this live session. But if you're sure that you've experienced rejection before, then you want to stay to the end of this live session. I don't know, one thing tells me that my lighting is a bit awkward. I don't know, it might be me. But I just need confirmation. Is it clear to you? Can you see me? If you can see me, just tell me. Okay. Here you go. If you can't see me, let me know. All right. Okay. I can see you all. I'm grateful you're here. I'm Dr. Adeola. I'm the founder of Talk Mental Health. I'm a psychiatrist. I live in the United Kingdom. I also want to meet you. So tell me your name and where you're joining from. I can see Belize. I can see Kongito. I can see Omolola. Yeah. Welcome. Today's topic is important and I need you to stay till the end. Except if you've never been rejected, then you can leave. If you have experienced rejection at some point in your life, then you need to stay to the end. All right? You need to stay till the end. Okay? Thank God it's Friday. How's your week been? I hope you were able to pull through this week. I hope it wasn't too stressful for you. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to dive into today's topic because I can see we don't have that much of time. I know that people that are just joining, you can always go, you can watch to the end, or if you join later, you can watch the replay. All right, so let me know if you've ever been rejected before. When you were rejected, what kind of emotions did you experience? So when you experienced rejection, when you were rejected, for instance, you were rejected by a boyfriend or a girlfriend in your relationship, you rejected, you had a rejection letter, maybe from a job, you did an interview, you did not become successful, and you got that unfortunately letter, or you were rejected, perhaps you were rejected by a friend, or you were rejected by your parents, whatsoever time that you think you experienced rejection and it was intense, what kind of emotions did you feel? What kind of emotions did you experience? So by emotions, I mean, were you angry? Were you upset? Were you sad? Were you downcast? Were you feeling guilty? Did you feel shameful? Do you understand? So that's the kind of emotions the question I'm asking. So I needed to drop it in the comment. So I felt angry. I felt sad. I felt bitter. I felt resentful. Whatsoever it is you experience, just drop in the comments. When you experienced rejection, what kind of feelings did you have? For me, I've been rejected several times. I can't even count the number of times that I've experienced rejection. And rejection would always come with a lot of emotions. And I just want you to know that it's okay. It's okay to have those emotions. It's okay to name your feelings. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel, resentful. It's okay to experience all those varying forms of emotions when you're rejected, because of course we are human beings. We are social animals. We want to connect with people. We want to experience approval from people, and it's okay. That's how we're wired. So don't feel bad when someone rejects you and you feel really sad or resentful. You don't want to speak to them again. Don't think that is wrong. It's not wrong. It's just normal for you to crave that acceptance from people. That's how God intended it to be. Remember, if you're a Christian and you're watching this, remember when God created Adam, he created Eve. So God always intended for us to have companionship, and he wants people to validate us. That's how it's wired. The only problem is when you now depend solely on external validation and you can't even validate your own self. That's when it becomes an issue, and that could affect your mental health greatly. All right, I'm still waiting on your responses. When you experienced rejection, if you've ever experienced rejection before, what kind of emotions did you feel? Were you sad? Were you angry? Were you resentful? Were you bitter? Did you feel envious of the person that was picked? How did you feel? Let me know. So today we're going to be talking about how to become rejection proof. But I also need you to confirm again that you can hear me. I want to see, are my people here? Can you hear me? Let me know. All right. So when talking about rejection is common to all. Rejection is common to all. We all experience rejection. Thank you, Shows. Shows, I said, it felt fear, sadness, feeling of emptiness. That's normal. Your emotions are valid. Absolutely. Feeling of emptiness, especially if you have your expectations high for that thing, for that particular thing, and then you were rejected. I feel all of the above. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mary. Thank you for confirming that you can hear me loud and clear. And the truth is that rejection is common to all. I would never forget when I finished medical school. I always share my stories to encourage you. I know by now, if you're following me, you will know that I always share my story. And if you're not following me, you're joining this live, please go and follow Talk Mental Health. You are missing out a great deal if you don't follow me, because I share content that is related to your mental that will help you stay on top of your mental well-being. All right, back to my story. When I finished medical school, just imagine I spent 10 years in medical school instead of 6 years. All right. And I've tried and endured and, waited for that day that I will finally become a medical doctor. Hooray! I graduated. I was excited. Even before the induction, I got a job at the University College Hospital in Ibadan. I was so elated. Oh, good job. I was so happy I got the job. Unfortunately for me, they had to wait till we did our induction. By the time we waited for about 2 or 3 months for the induction process to, and then I got my certificate. The person that helped me get the job stopped working. So they changed, the person that was in charge, the medical director, at the hospital at that time. And everything just changed. So I exactly went to work the following day after the induction, I'm now a doctor now. So I put on my badge. I have even bought ward coats, we call it ward coats, right? Ward coats, everything. I bought my stethoscope and I was like, yes, I'm going to be working at UCH, man. I'm now, I felt on top of the world. And there were 2 of us that day. There was another colleague of mine. We both went there. I was told that I cannot work anymore. I don't have the job anymore. I was shocked. The other lady got the job. I don't know how she did it, but she got the job. I was so happy. I was shocked. I'm like, but I had this job now. I'm like, you can't tell me. They said, oh no, the medical director that was there before, has not been changed a week before I got my certificate. I was devastated. I felt rejected. I felt like, God, why? After spending 10 years in medical school and I got back, I thought this was like a compensation for the number of years I had to wait till I became a doctor. Why did this happen to me? Okay, even if they're going to stop me from getting a job, it has to be both of us. You can't pick one person and leave the other person. Why now? I was devastated all through that week. For like a week, I would cry. So all that Shaw said he experienced when he was rejected, I felt sadness, I felt empty, I felt worthless, I felt a lot of emotion. I felt like, God, why did I even study medicine in the first place? So yes, rejection is common to all, and it's okay to feel the feelings. I felt so sad, I felt so bad, I felt angry. I felt angry even at myself, at God, at everything. I kept questioning myself that what could I have done, to make me get this job? Is it that I did not follow up? I just thought of a lot of things at that time. And if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, if you're watching the replay, I want you to know that whether you're experiencing rejection at the moment, if you experienced before, your emotions are valid and it's normal, right? But we're talking about rejection sensitivity. So there are certain people that have heightened rejection. They are very sensitive to rejection. Any little thing, they feel like somebody has rejected them. Any little thing, they feel like they have been abandoned. And that's one of the things I want to talk about. I know that this video is going to, this topic today, we're going to do justice to it. And if you have questions, please drop your questions. But my point is that whether you experience rejection on a surface level, you are that kind of person that have heightened rejection, I need you to know that this video is going to be very useful for you, because it's going to help you become rejection proof, and you wouldn't mind. You just have your skin will be tough. You'll be able to accept whatever it is anyone will say, and that would help you elevate and become the highest version of yourself. So if this is making sense to you, please drop in the comment. Let me know that you're following me. Let me know. All right? So when I say rejection sensitivity, I mean people that have intense emotional reaction to perceived or actual rejection. So these people with heightened rejection sensitivity are those people that feel someone has done something to them, whether they perceive that rejection or the rejection actually happens. So it is one thing for you to actually be rejected. It's another thing for you to think you are rejected. But you can experience similar emotions when you have that kind of mindset. All right, does that make sense? If it's making sense to you, please just be dropping in the comments. If it makes sense to you, say, yes, I understand. Yes, I'm following. Yes, it's making sense. Because I need you to get this once and for all. If you can get it, then trust me, no matter what anyone does to you, you will never feel sad about it. You will just pick yourself up and you move on. Because for some people, rejection has led them to stop trying, to push. Some people, just because they were rejected, they've vowed that I will never try that again. But that's not true. If you remember Albert Einstein, if you remember Thomas Edison, the person that created light, he failed several times. So if he felt rejected, he wouldn't keep trying and he wouldn't have become successful in creating the light bulb. So my point is that rejection is common to all, is part of life. If you can become rejection proof, honestly, you will get to the highest version of it. You'll become more confident because you won't care what anyone says. Well, whatever they've rejected you, you will continue to push. All right? So from a psychiatrist's point of view, I believe people that have got heightened rejection, there's a reason why they feel the way they feel. All right? So it's not normal for you to always think people are rejecting you. It's not normal for you to become too sensitive to rejection. It's not normal for you to personalize rejection, all right? Because not everybody will like you, and you don't like everyone anyways, and that's fine. But for some people, when you feel rejected all the time, when you're always thinking that people don't like you, people won't accept you, and that leads to you avoiding conversations with people just because you feel they might not accept anyways. Perhaps you feel like, oh, let me not even ask because I know they will say no. Then that is rejection sensitivity. And that is going to limit your ability to thrive and become the best person you should be. All right? And as a psychiatrist, I know that this thing does not just happen. There's always a reason why you act the way you do. That's what I always believe, and I know science has backed this up. So when I talk about the causes of people becoming rejection sensitive, then I want to think of whether they have mental disorders, because rejection sensitivity is found in mental illnesses like depression, anxiety disorders, personality disorders, people with neurodiverse individuals like ADHD, autism spectrum disorder, and all of that. So what I'm trying to say is that the reason you're sensitive to rejection might be because of those biological factors, meaning those mental illnesses that you've got. Does that make sense? Some people might not even have a diagnosis of mental illness. They might just have traits of these illnesses. And one of it could be rejection, heightened rejection sensitivity, or heightened rejection. They feel like people don't like them. So they're just quite very, very anxious. So they have social anxiety. They don't want to communicate or converse with people, have conversation with people. So if that could be a reason. So I'm not saying that is always the reason. I'm just saying that's one of the risk factors of rejection sensitivity. Is it making sense? If you have questions, please feel free to ask me. The second thing I want to say, which I believe is common to everyone. Yes, I know that people with ADHD or autism or depression, they might have other symptoms, and you can quickly pick and then perhaps treat yourself and get better, right? But there are certain psychological factors that we need to look at. How were you raised? What happened when you were a child? You have to look back to you. Why do I act the way I do? So people that have rejection sensitive, that are very sensitive to rejection, are likely to be, they must have had difficult childhood experience, such as having problems with parenting, how they were raised, attachment issues with their parents. Maybe there was emotional neglect, right? Emotional neglect by their mom. They experienced childhood trauma. It could be physical, it could be sexual, and then that would form their core beliefs. So they have this internalized belief that I am not good enough, I am not lovable. Perhaps the parental criticisms and all of those things, some of us perhaps did not get enough praise from our parents as compared to how much they criticized us, not because they wanted to, but because they felt they were doing the best. So when you've gone through that kind of experience, and that forms your core belief, it forms like a maladaptive schema for you. Whatever, as an adult, whenever you're in a relationship with someone, or someone says something, it triggers you. It reminds you of how you were rejected as a child. So you just have this belief that people don't like me, people hate me, just because that person, I greeted her and she didn't respond. So that means the person does not like you. All right. So you form that cognitive distortion. There's a bias, there's a mental bias that you've got, and that prevents you from having good relationship with people. So it could be from your childhood. And that's why when sometimes I tell people, as an adult, you have to sit back and reflect and think about why you act the way you do. Why is it that you find it difficult to maintain positive relationship with people? Why are you struggling to communicate your feelings with people? Why are you struggling to set healthy boundaries? Why do you always personalize, issues when things happen? When somebody, corrects you or criticizes you, you take it so personally. Why? Why is that so? You have to think, why am I feeling this way? Take it back to your childhood. How were you raised? Did you feel loved as a child? Did you experience love from your parents? These are the questions you need to ask yourself. So the reason why you're doing this is not just to bring it out. It's for you to become self-aware, become aware enough of where the problem is coming from, and start to heal from that, so that you can then take charge of your life. Not that everything that happens and then you become lost. You don't know why you're acting. You don't know why your emotions are all over the place. You have to know where the problem is coming from. So I can see people joining. I can see Kemi, cook and coach with Kemi. I can see Dr. Dara. Thank you for joining. Christy, thank you for joining. All right. So I was talking about the causes of rejection sensitivity, and I've mentioned biological factors. I've mentioned psychological factors, right? And I also want to talk about the social factors. Children, we all watched adolescents, or some of us watched adolescents. I did a live session with Kemi on adolescents, on how bullying and all of those things could affect a child. So when a child keeps getting bullied, if you experience bullying as a child, you could internalize this experiences, and it forms your core belief, and you start to react based on it. So it's an unconscious way of of acting, really, because it's not something you sit down to say, this is how I'm going to react, but you don't know. That is why I tell people, you can't just assume that this is how I am and I'm going to just fold my arms, I'm doing nothing. No, you have to go back to reflect and think, why am I doing this? What happened? Maybe I was bullied. And the thing about being traumatized as a child is that sometimes, just because of the part of the brain, the experience is quite intense. There's a part of the brain that, supposed to keep the memory of certain events in your life. But because of that, how traumatized you were, your response to that situation, you just forget. That part of your life is erased. So you may not remember all of the experiences that you had as a child based on that traumatic experience. So you have to sit down, perhaps sit with a therapist to begin to unearth and bring to the fore some of the experiences you had during childhood. And I tell us, even as parents, as we are, growing and evolving and becoming parents, and whether you have your own children or you don't have your own children, you definitely be a role model to some younger people. You have to start to think of how you're relating with younger people, because whatever it is you do to them is what forms how they behave when they become adults. So you have to be good role models to them. First, you help yourself to help your children, if you get what I mean. So if you're a parent, you're watching this also makes a lot of sense. Sometimes we have to work on ourselves and heal some of the trauma that we've been through so that we can help our children become better persons, and they perhaps would not need therapy when they grow up like we do now. All right, so I'm still talking about rejection sensitivity, and thank you all for joining. How to become rejection proof, right? But I'm delving deep into why you feel rejected or why you have heightened rejection feelings, why you experience those emotions. And that's what I'm talking about. Social issues, people talk about how they get a lot of rejections when they go for interviews. Some people would even apply for jobs several times. They don't even get called for the interview, and you don't know why. I remember someone told me, see, the reason why you didn't get that job is because God has better plans for you. Let me say that again. The reason why you didn't get that placement, that job, or whatever it is you want is because God has a better plan for you. So if you have that mindset that there's something better and greater that is coming for you, it helps you feel better. It doesn't mean that you should stay back and fold your arms and do nothing. It just means that it prevents you from feeling really bad and internalizing that experience and making it, concluding based on that experience. All right. So you have to just perhaps re-strategize and try to see what you can do to improve so that you can then try again. All right. So the point is, sometimes you have to reframe your thoughts. I'm going to get to how to overcome it, shortly. But the next thing I want to talk about now is the signs that shows that you have rejection sensitivity. I mentioned this during, I shared this in one of my reels recently. This morning on 5 signs. I shared about 5 signs of rejection sensitivity. So like I said, not everybody is sensitive to rejection. Only a few people are. So if I mention this now, I'm going to mention, I think I have 6 or 7 points. If that sounds or resonates with you, then you are probably sensitive to rejection. And if you're just joining this live, you need to go back and find out why, because I've mentioned the causes of rejection sensitivity. So one of the signs that you are sensitive to rejection is that you overanalyze everything and you assume people are upset with you. You overanalyze everything. So everything and anything you think, you find yourself thinking and ruminating on things over and over again. By the way, ruminating on events over and over again is not good for your mental health. So you have to find ways of stopping that. So the first point is that you overanalyze everything. The second sign that you have got rejection sensitivity is that you take things personally. You take things personally. And we call it's a cognitive bias called personalization. All right? So there's a cognitive bias called personalization. And that means that you believe that everything anyone does to you is because of yourself. So you feel like, oh, they did not give me the job because they don't like me. Or this person behaved to me this way because I'm a bad person. But you have to always remember that people's actions is because of them and not of you. So even if you've done something wrong, whatever it is a person does to you is because it's a reflection of who they are, and it has nothing to do with you. So if you have that at the back of your mind, it helps you to separate the event from your person. So no matter what it is, it has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with you. So the third sign that you're sensitive to rejection, is that you can't trust others. So you are very suspicious of people. You believe they hate you. You believe they have bad things to say about you. You're very suspicious of people. That is a sign that you've got rejection sensitivity. Number 4, you avoid people. So because, of course, you're not sure that they will say yes to you. You don't want them to reject you, basically. So you're afraid, and you avoid perhaps asking questions. You avoid communicating with people. You avoid attending social gatherings just because you're afraid that they are going to say no. All right? Excuse me. The 5th sign is that you seek external validation. Of course, you've internalized those negative feelings. Feel bad about yourself. So you want people to validate the things that you do. You can't stand on your own to say, yes, I know, I believe I'm good enough. You want people to say that to you, and that affects you a lot. The 6th is that you please people. So yes, because you want to seek validation from them, you have to do what they want you to do. So you want to please them. You want to be there for them. You go above and beyond to be there for people just because you don't want them to say no to you. You are afraid that they're going to reject you. That's another sign. And number 7 is you often assume that people dislike you. So some of these things, I'm just trying to simplify them. But when we talk about cognitive behavioral therapy, or we talk about when we move to the technical terms, we call them cognitive distortions. And there are a lot of them. I'm perhaps going to talk about them, in another video, or maybe I'll do a reel. And if you're not following, make sure you follow me, all right? So that you can see the reel. Turn on your post notifications so you can see my reel when I post or when I share. All right? So we call them cognitive bias or cognitive distortions. Cognitive means the way you think. Cognition, your thinking. Bias is that it's distorted. So meaning that there's a change in the way you think. The way you perceive things is different from the way others say it. For instance, you perceive that someone did not answer you when you greeted them. All right? So you saw someone and the person did not answer when you greeted them. And you assumed or you concluded that they don't like you. All right? So that's your conclusion. Sorry about that. You concluded that they don't like you based on that. But you don't know, maybe they didn't see you. Or maybe the person did not use their glasses, so they can't see from afar. Or maybe the person did not hear you. Or maybe the person is lost in thoughts. Maybe the person has something they are going through. So these are ways by which you can reframe your thinking so that you don't assume or jump into conclusion, except you ask the person. You ask, why didn't you greet me? Oh, I intentionally did not greet you. Then you can conclude that, oh, this person did not greet me. So you can ask further, why didn't you greet me? Did I offend you? Then you talk about it. But you can't jump into conclusion and assume that people hate you or people don't want you, they rejected you because of certain social cues. All right? Is this making sense? Are you following me? Let me know if you're following me. And I'm going to drop how you can overcome it in a bit. Let me know. Is this making sense? We're talking about how to become rejection proof. I'm going to share with you 5 ways by which you can become rejection proof. And I tell a lot of people, when I speak with my clients during our sessions, I let them know that, see, it takes a lot of work. You have lived all these years, and a lot of things have happened right when you were, during the formative years, when you were a child, as an adolescent, young adults and all. You can't expect a miracle for everything to just change all of a sudden. So it's going to take a lot of gradual process for you to become better. So that's the first thing I like to say. Don't expect a drastic change. It takes intentionality. It takes being intentional. It takes working on yourself every day for you to improve and become the person you want eventually. All right? So the first thing you need to do to overcome rejection is to reframe your thoughts. So you have to reframe that thought. You have to challenge those negative thoughts. Once you can identify what triggers it, then reframe it. Ask yourself alternative questions. This person did not this person did not answer my greetings or answered me when I greeted her because she did not like me or she does not like me. That's the thing you said. So you have to find evidences. What's the evidence that the person does not like you? What is the evidence? Always ask, so what's the evidence? As the person told me, this, that. Because I can squeeze my face. That doesn't mean that I don't like. It might just be my own thing. I can walk away. I might not hear you. Perhaps I have iPod in my ears and I did not hear you. All right. So you have to find alternatives for people. You have to give people the benefit of the doubt. It has nothing to do with you. Reframe your thoughts. The second thing you need to do is regulate your emotions. You have to find ways of grounding yourself and regulating and self-regulating such that you don't get yourself overwhelmed. The truth is that once you're dysregulated, your ability to think logically it goes away. So that part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex for executive functioning, critical thinking, is overridden by your amygdala. Your amygdala would just sense threats and will start firing a lot of cortisol, a lot of adrenaline, just so that you have enough. It sees as a threat and it just wants to protect you. By the way, that would then lead to you having a lot of anxiety symptoms like increased heart rates. Excuse me. So you experience increased heart rate, chest tightness, and all of those anxiety symptoms that we normally experience when we become anxious. And this is not good for you. It's not good for your body to continue to experience anxiety symptoms all the time. You have to learn to self-regulate. Do that by breath work. Try to do deep breath work. Breathe in and out. You can also do a lot of mindful meditation, a lot of journaling. All right. And walking in nature, do a lot of all of these things to regulate yourself as many times as possible during the day. All right. You need to learn to self-regulate. You can't just live life without self-regulate. I don't know how we do it. You have to self-regulate. If the only thing you can do is breathe in and out, you need to learn how to self-regulate. That's the second way to overcome rejection sensitivity. The third is you need to reaffirm yourself. I love affirmations. If you've been following me for a while, you know how much I love affirmations. You have to learn to affirm yourself. You have to affirm yourself from time to time. Have those stickers around yourself. Stick it on your walls. Stick it on your bedside, on the wardrobe, in the bathroom, everywhere, so that you see. The more you see, the more it registers in your brain. Continue to affirm yourself from time to time. So we need to learn to affirm yourself. That's the third way to overcome rejection sensitivity. The next thing that you need to do, number 4, is to become kind to yourself. I can't say that enough. You have to practice self-compassion. You have to show yourself kindness. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back. Be kind to yourself. Ladies, gentlemen, be kind to yourself. We are too critical of ourselves. We are too quick to condemn ourselves when we make mistakes. I gave you the analogy I gave you the example. I told my story of when I did not get that job. And I was criticizing myself when I didn't get the job because I felt like I could have done something to get the job. Like maybe I should have followed up or something. And I'm like, if you're wondering what the story is, just go back to the beginning of the live session when I'm done. So watch the replay, you see the story. So my point is that we are too critical of ourselves. We want to see our lives in 3D. So if I did not meet up this, then what could I have done? You'd be wondering, and then you start over-analyzing and you start becoming critical of yourself. But sometimes you have to learn to slow down, breathe in and out, and then be kind to yourself. Like give yourself a pat on the back like this. So if you're watching this, wherever you are, just do like this. Adeola, you are doing well. Whatever it is your name is, just say it. Adeola, you are doing well. Please let me type in the comments. Put your name. I can see Blessing. Say Blessing. I'm doing well. Blessing says affirmation works wonders. Yes, it does. It's amazing. So put it in the comments. I am doing well. I'm doing well. Learn to be kind to yourself. Learn to give yourself that rub, that gentle, there's a lot of happy chemicals that get released when you hug yourself, when you pat yourself. Oxytocin is released. Just give yourself that gentle hug. It helps calm your nerve. It gives you that relief from stress and anxiety and, feeling whatever it is that has happened in the day. It makes you feel better, basically. So these are things, little things that help our mental well-being, but because we don't do them, we get tired and exhausted all the time. We're expecting something huge, but as little as just hugging yourself and saying, "Oh, Adeola, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you. Be right, just write it. I'm doing well. You're doing well." So you have to tell yourself and remind yourself. Your brain needs that reminder all the time. You have to say. Then the last thing I will share of 5 ways of how to overcome rejection sensitivity is that you need to reach out for help. Reach out for help. So when you've tried all of this and you repeat, you go back from the beginning to the end and you realize that you are not making headway. You still feel very bad about when you're rejected. You feel people don't like you. You have all those signs that I highlighted earlier. Then you need to ask for help. See a therapist. I always tell people you don't have to have a confirmed diagnosis of mental illness to go for therapy. Therapy is something that you have to, it's like a way of it's like going to see a dentist every 6 months. So sometimes you need therapy to help reset, help you go through, try and understand why you feel the way you feel. You know some of these things, but you need someone you can talk to. Just being able to open up and say what you're feeling helps a lot. So you can't underestimate the power of, seeking help from a professional, especially someone that that you can connect with, because you have to have that therapeutic alliance, the therapeutic relationship with therapists for it to be effective. All right. So I have come to the end of my session, Rejection Proof, how to become more confident. I need us to understand that if because of rejection, you stop doing something, there's no way you become confident. The only way you build confidence is when you overcome a challenge. So you've tried something and you failed at it, or you were rejected and you stop. You would never feel confident in that thing. The only way you can build confidence is to try and keep trying and keep trying until you become successful. Then you feel confident. Yes, I did it. I always tell people I failed. I can't count the number of times I failed. I failed JAMB 4 times. 4 times. Just because I wanted to study medicine. So just imagine if I had given up, then I would never have become a medical doctor, let alone become a psychiatrist. I failed JAMB 4 times because I was bent on studying medicine. So I kept going back. I kept trying again. People said, why not go for this? Go for this course. That course is enough. You can go for computer science. You can go for... I said, it's medicine. And, so my point is, you can't allow rejection determine your life for you. Rejection is a gift. It depends on how you want to use it. It could be, you can use it for your uplifting, or you can let it determine how how your life would go. You can let it make you feel like, oh, I can never do this. So because I've been rejected, maybe this is not the way for me. No. So you have to overcome it. And I've shared 5 ways to overcome it. First, reframe your thoughts. Second, regulate your emotions. So first, reframe your thoughts. Second, regulate your emotions. Third, reaffirm yourself. Fourth, practice self-compassion. And the final one is for you to reach out for help. Reach out for help. Okay? So do you have questions? Do you have questions before we go? Let me know if you have questions. Any questions? Question. Question. This is your opportunity to ask me questions. Ask me any question you've got. Yep. Questions. How to become rejection proof. All right, if there are no questions, I want to say thank you everyone for joining my live session today. If you're just joining, please go back and watch the replay. And once I drop the replay, let me know how this live went. So tell me one thing you've learned today. Tell me one thing you've learned today. What did you learn? Mary, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. What did you learn today? What did you learn today? Tell me, tell me, tell me. Tell me what you learned. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, absolutely. You have to pay to be in my corner. Because you have to pay to be in my corner. You have to pay for my time. Yeah. Yes, it does cost money. Absolutely. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name. It costs money. It costs money. So you have to pay. You have to pay. You can send me a DM, all right? Any other question? Any other question? Any other question? Any other question? All right. So if there are no questions, that'll be the end for today. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Sorry. Say more, Daddy.